Kevin Henry. Kevin, go ahead.
Good morning, buddy.
Morning, Kevin.
Just wanted to get your reaction to the greater amount of fans that will be in Coors for opening day and beyond.
You know, I heard that yesterday. I was excited. I think it's awesome. I think the players heard it as well. They're pumped up. I think it's a sign of good things to come. So really, really happy about that. Happy for the fans to be able to watch baseball. Happy for the players who, as we know, love having people in the stands. They're entertainers. They like playing in front of people. So I'm happy for everyone, and I'm glad that worked out for the Rockies, for the state of Colorado, for all Rockies fans, wherever they're coming from. I think it's great.
Thanks, buddy.
Kyle Newman, Denver Post. Kyle, go ahead.
Hey, buddy. So I wanted to circle back on the first base situation. Any kind of updates there? I know Fuentes had a nice play yesterday. Cron hit a home run. What's kind of where those two stand, as well as Greg Bird in the competition there?
You know, they're all playing and working hard in practice, playing hard during the game. I think what you got to realize, Kyle, is that when a season starts and you have 26 players, probably in our situation, depending on how many pitchers we keep, we're going to use our entire roster and our entire position player grouping. There's a lot of versatility there to get guys on the field. As you know, Kyle, being a ex-player, maybe even amateur, and still playing today, we play 162 games. It's rare that a player plays 162 straight games anymore. Guys need days off. Guys get banged up. There's certain matchups that you like depending on the starting pitcher. Position versatility is advantageous for a lot of different players. That gets them on the field. So, again, I wouldn't just pigeonhole it to, one guy becoming the first baseman. I think that, those three guys that you mentioned, even Connor Joe, who's in camp with us, who has some first base experience, all those guys will be looked at to make the team, to comprise what we feel is our best group of position players to start the season with. So as far as those four guys, they're playing hard. I know that Crony had a good day yesterday with the 3 for 3 with a double off the left field wall and a homer to right. Josh made that great defensive play on that line drive that picked up Chi-Chi on the double play. Greg had a walk late in the game against a lefty. We pinch hit him there to give him some exposure to be on the bench for 6 innings and then pinch hit like he might in a National League game if a player doesn't start. I think that's always good practice in spring training. So Connor Joe played in the B game yesterday early in the morning, had 4 at-bats, had really good at-bats. He's playing today, DHing. Bird's playing today against the Padres. So all these guys will continue to get their at-bats to show what they can do, to see if they can do it, show their skills to make our team.
Hey, and one more for you. You mentioned Chi Gonzalez. Obviously, you pitched yesterday, 3rd Cactus League start. What are you liking from him? And obviously, he's in contention for the back end of the rotation. If he doesn't make it, would he be a bullpen guy like he kind of was in the past? Or what do you see his role, if and what the scenario plays out?
Okay, I'll try to answer both those questions in one. I like the way the last 2 starts where his fastball has been a little more crispy. I thought it's had some life in the hitting area, a little bit more velocity, a little more giddy up. I like that. It's good to see. I think that Chi can maintain that, but he looks more comfortable within his mechanics. He's not overthrowing the ball. So just from a pure pitching standpoint, he looks to be in a good place March 8th. As far as his role, we know that Chi-Chi's able to start. He comes from a starter background all the way as an amateur player and through professional baseball. And with us, he's done a little bit of both. We've seen him in the bullpen as a long man. He's been able to, pitch some innings for us when needed, 2-3 innings at a time out of the bullpen. And he's also been able to start. So his versatility helps him in his quest to make the team. How our bullpen sets up 3 weeks from now, I can probably answer that better then. But Chi-Chi's in the mix because he does bring an element of length if he is in the bullpen. And if we need a starter, he's in competition with a couple other guys to nail down a spot in our rotation.
Thomas Harding, go ahead.
Buddy, some of the prospect types that we've not seen at the major league level in the regular season, what traits are they showing here that let you know that they are ready to be called upon? Maybe not at the start of the season, but later on.
The thing that stands out with the number of these guys is, just a year of maturity. How they're handling themselves, how they're going about their day. Their practice sessions in the morning are on point as far as focus and concentration. I mean, the effort levels there. Their concentration isn't wavering. Where I think the previous years you might saw a little youthfulness to them. Maybe not really bearing down in practice as you'd like to see a young player. They're maturing, and I think that's carrying over into these exhibition games where the at bats are under control. The in-game conversations are present. They're lucid. They're great. They're talking good baseball stuff in the dugout. They're acting and performing more like potential major league players. That's the thing that has stood up for me. The inexperience that we saw a couple years ago is lessening, and that's a good thing because they're getting closer. But I think more than anything, just a year of maturity, a year older, just a little bit more calm, a little bit more poised. That's what we're seeing.
When I look at Valade and Welker, I see big guys and I'm thinking home run power when they get to the major leagues. Is that part of what's required of them to be major leaguers, to hit the ball over the fence?
Well, hitting the ball over the fence is a great skill to have. If you can do it, on a I don't want to say consistent, but if you can show power in competition, because there's no doubt statistically it tells you that if teams hit home runs, it gives you a huge advantage in your production, and those guys are capable of hitting homers. They're still young, they haven't proven, maybe even the minor leagues the real consistent season power, but it's in there, and that can show up at any time, whether it shows up quickly as they climb the minor league ladder, or if it shows up quickly in the big leagues, or sometimes it shows up a little later as they mature as major league players. So, again, I think more important is they show the performance of on base percentage with a little bit of slug, because I think they're going to slug because they have some power, but through batting average, through on base, through good at bats, the power will eventually show because these are strong guys with the ability to get the ball in the air and to hit homers.
Yeah, I guess that's what I've wondered. I've seen here with guys like Holiday and Helton, the home run numbers didn't show up till after they got here, but all the other things showed up. So are you looking for these guys to hit a bunch of homers in the minor leagues to say, yeah, they're home run hitters? No. Or are you looking for them to prove these other things and the power's in them?
I think you become a good hitter first, and the power comes later. So we're looking for all our prospects or all our players in the minor leagues for that matter, or even guys who come on the radar who weren't thought to be prospects, right? The prospect thing a lot of time gets overplayed. We have, 150 minor league players, 200 minor league players who are our players. And as you know, guys come out of nowhere and become big leaguers. So we look at all our players the same, no matter whether they're prospects or not. I mean, you have to perform. So, we're looking at all players from A-ball to AAA who get in the lineup every day in the minor leagues to produce. And For me, if you hit and you show the ability to hit, and then if you have that ability to drive the ball and have a slugging percentage component to your game, and over time you show the ability to hit homers with also a batting average and on base, I mean, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for good all-around hitters.
Okay, last one for me. We see you testing your lefties out of that pen. Obviously, you want a good lefty. Are you getting close to the point where, maybe these lefties are forcing your hand as far as the roster's concerned?
Well, I don't know whether that's, we're forcing everybody to pitch well. I mean, there's some guys who, have a pretty good stranglehold on a position in our bullpen, and all the other guys are fighting for a spot. We want good pitchers. Again, you don't want pitchers who, can't get either left or right-handed hitters out. We want guys who can get everybody out, whether they're left or right-handed. There's no doubt there are certain left-handed hitters who struggle with left-handed pitching. It's just sort of a fact. And there's some right-handed hitters that struggle with right-handed pitching. But, we have to have, talent from both right and left to be able to get, hitters out regardless of what side of the plate they hit from.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, Thomas.
All right, we got time for a few more. Try and get to everyone here. Nick Grote, go ahead.
Hey, buddy. When we look back at Charlie Blackmon's career, even starting in college, he's really changed himself a lot. Obviously, he was a pitcher who moved to the outfield. He was a tried and true leadoff who moved down the order, center fielder. Have you seen that adaptability in him in your time with him, or is it really not that unusual? It just it seems like he's always evolving. It seems.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, I think that's a sign of a great player who's always pushing and always trying to make himself better. I think that's that's happened. I think with a lot of great players who have long careers. I mean, you really aren't the same player from year 1 to year 10, or if you have a 15-year career. I mean, you change over time, and you become who you are based on your experience, based on knowledge, based on your physical skills, all those things. But Charlie's one who's always trying to get better, always trying to improve in all areas. He does a great job of keeping his body in the best possible condition. He's a great student of the game. He's a great listener to coaches. He's sort of a model player in a lot of ways, that he does so many things right, not only on the field but off. So again, I think he's a guy that when you look back to Charlie, to your point as an amateur player, he might not have been a can't miss player. He was a pitcher in college who turned himself into an all-star, a batting champion. So, that tells you first and foremost about his work ethic and his determination. But, he, to your point, you said it great. I mean, here's a guy that when he got to the big leagues was, maybe thought of to be an extra outfielder, turned himself into an everyday player, became a great leadoff hitter, stole bases, and now where he is age-wise and experience, not the base stealer he once was, but can steal a base when needed. The powers. Speaking of power, to Thomas's question, the powers increased over time. He's just become an educated player who knows his game and knows what he needs to do to be successful.
He mentioned a couple of weeks ago even that his role with the team, or maybe not his role, but how he talks to teammates might change a little bit this year.
Yep.
Have you noticed that? Have you had a conversation
Yes.
with him about that?
I haven't had these are conversations that I've had with certain players over the last number of years. Whether it's going back to Cargo, to DJ, to Nolan, to Charlie, to Trevor, to Reynolds, to Desmond, all our guys who had service time. For me, it's sort of a challenge to take on that responsibility of being a mentor or a leader, to our younger players, not only the guys who are on the big league roster, but to minor league players who are in big league camp. And, a lot of times that can't be forced. And a lot of guys embrace it, and a number of guys, it takes time to maybe feel comfortable in doing that. But to your point, I think Charlie now, cherishes that role on this team. I think he feels comfortable now, sort of expanding his personality and his wisdom to our group. I mentioned this a couple years ago to Charlie, but you can't force it on people. It's got to come naturally. And I think, to your point, I think Charlie has said it publicly or he has to you, I guess, or others, that he wants to be more helpful, and I think that's a great thing. And I think I have seen it so far this spring. Same with Trevor. I think those two guys realize now the importance of that for this group, because we have a lot of younger position players, lesser service time position players, who I think need it, and I think want it, and I think it's coming from the right guys, which is for us a good thing.
Gotcha. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Hi, Graham. Go ahead.
Hey, buddy. Thank you very much. Just preparing for this 3 feet of snow we're supposed to get here. So
Whoa.
Crazy.
Whoa. Crazy,
Oh.
for sure.
Hey, so just to kind of circle back to Kyle's question real quick, how much does the kind of the versatility of of Josh and Ryan factor into the decision at first base? And I know it kind of practices
Right.
and everything.
Yeah, it factors into everything, but it's advantageous for those guys for sure. I think it was advantageous for Mac the last couple years, with his ability to move to second base and do it comfortably after, a couple years of exposure in the minor leagues as a second baseman, and also to first base as well. So, being a left side defender as an amateur out of high school, then his first couple years in the minor leagues as a third baseman, and then shifting over to second and first, he handled it, great. He's athletic. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He embraced it. And he became a very good right side defender. Now with Josh, sort of the same thing. Came up, through an amateur player as a third baseman, collegiately third, minor leagues third, shifted to first, and handled it tremendously last year, over the last couple of years, and we saw that firsthand in the small sample size of games that we had last year when he played first base. So again, expanding his versatility, potentially first, third, and maybe even we haven't seen him in left field, but I know that during practice he gets out there and works in left field. You could see that too, because we got some left-handed hitting outfielders with Charlie and Hilliard and Tapia, some right-handed hitting outfielders with Owings, Hampson if he's in the outfield, Daza. If Josh can get out in left field and feel comfortable, and we feel comfortable about that, it helps him. It helps us against potentially left-handed starting pitchers. The Kershaws, the Bumgardners, Urias. Down the line of tough lefties in our division. Snell. Right-handed bats are needed. So it goes back to, Kyle Newman's question about first base, right? And a lineup we might present against certain pitchers. So again, we're trying to, get the best group of guys that are able to, go out there with 8 positions and put a good lineup out there that can be productive.
Hey, Diaz will be on TV behind the plate today. Just give us for a talking point his growth and how you talk to him, pitcher to catcher, so to speak, to communicate with your pitchers. And then, Drew, I'll be done after that. Yeah,
this started last year. First of all, just from my perspective, the pitcher-catcher relationship is so vital. I hit him in the face. I hit all our catchers in the face every spring with that. The guy, Dom Nunez has been here 5 years with me. He's been hit in the face 5 times about what it means at that position. Mike Redmond does a great job with that as well. But as far as Elias, his growth, I think in actually receiving the ball, his work with Mike and the catching coaches on his hands and receiving the ball, the target, the physical stuff, the blocking has improved in a year. I mean, Mike's done great work with Elias. Again, great work again with the pitching coaches, myself, the pitchers on game calling, pitch selection. So there's been a lot of growth. In Pittsburgh there was a few hiccups in 19 that I think he's now overcome. He's in a good spot, Mark, as far as on the defensive side of the ball.
Drew Griezmann, you want to get in? All right, Drew, go ahead.
But I was also going to ask about catching, so I'll just steal Mark's question and ask
Okay.
you, Beatles, Zeppelin.
I'm sorry?
Beatles, Stones, or Zeppelin? I'm stealing Mark's question since he stole mine.
I gotta go Beatles.
All right.
I gotta go Beatles.
Thank you, buddy.
You got. All right, guys. Thanks.